p.m. news on Canal the English with me, Annette Efeti Essoma, and immediately we begin with our major stories. Tempers fled today in Loum, a locality in the Mongo division, as traders went on strike. They are against forceful tax recovery by council authorities. Decision makers have been told to build a reservoir of talent if Cameroon has to be developed. The role of human capital in Cameroon was discussed today in Yaoundé. Cameroon's delegation to the Under-16 Football World Cup was received by Sports Minister Bidonkwat Elie today. And out of the country, Niger's Minister of Higher Education has been sacked after a wave of students' protest in the capital, Niamey. Development of the stories right ahead. We begin in the littoral region where precisely in Loum, traders went on strike denouncing high rents for their shops, forceful recovery and other problems that they are faced with daily, as Bandlaf Modest tells us.
It was during the early hours of this Wednesday morning, April 18, that the atmosphere in the Loum market became unfriendly. These traders decided to strike by not opening their shops, and they won't allow anyone into the market either. This comes as a result of high rent of shops and the unhygienic nature of the market, despite the traders paying their hygienic ticket. The strikers decided that the market won't go operational if the rents are not reduced. The mayor of Loum came down to the market in the firefighting vehicle and asked the traders to get back to the market, an instruction which was not respected by the strikers, who pushed other traders and buyers out of the market. Agents of the Loum municipality came down to the scene to resolve the problem, but to no avail, as the strike continues.
From the littoral, we move down to the south region, and precisely in Ambam, where gardeners have gone on rampage, and the one to, as council authorities equally have imposed high taxes on them. They have described the action as corrupt. Nzimorin reports.
Hundreds of gardeners in Ambam in the south region are on strike. They are against the payment of taxes imposed on them by the mayor of Ambam. The gardeners have described the system as corrupt and say it is an abuse of their rights. This gardener says he has been in the business for 4 years. He sees no reason why they should be asked to pay taxes or pay for badges which are of no use to them. We don't know if the law is from Ambam or Yaoundé, he cries out. This is a problem caused by the Ambam Council. It is discriminatory. The mounting tension provoked the Ambam Council to hold a crisis meeting where tempers were calmed. According to some council officials, the measure by the Ambam Council is aimed at putting order in a sector plagued by charlatans. The gardeners have vowed to continue with the protests if nothing is done to address the problem.
In the central region, a ravaging tornado has left some 20 families homeless in Monetarily. Apart from their houses that have been destroyed, the victims equally lost property and are very devastated. Beatrice Ngamo completes the story.
Families without shelter. Over 24 hours in this unexpected misfortune, a cyclone after 5 p.m. suddenly snatched some 20 roofs. The perceptive violence of this enemy tornado came with some force and in intervals 1, 2, 3, and the 4th time it came with some extraordinary force and ceilings went flying. Houses without ceilings, roofless with all internal content open to the sky. The rain bath on all the equipment of the house and its occupants. The whole house soaked and no water equipment destroyed. Those to be cast away was sent off, while what could be arranged needs to be done in the fastest possible time. This to avoid any other damages, especially as the rains are almost a daily phenomenon this time around.
How is Cameroon managing its human resources to better exploit its huge natural potentials? This was discussed today in Yaoundé. The decision makers have been sensitized on the need to accompany the country build a reservoir of talent if it has to be developed so that it can take advantages that lie ahead. Beatrice Ngamo completes the story.
Human capital is important for the exploitation of natural resources, meaning human resources needs to be developed to better transform these natural resources.
Cameroon is very rich in natural resources, but Cameroon needs to develop its human resources in order to be able to take advantage of the natural resources.
The objective of this discussion, April 19, Business Transforming Cameroon, entitled From Growth to Emergence, What Role for Human Capital?
The private sector and the government see the advantage of developing the human resources of Cameroon so that Cameroon can take advantage of what it has and grow and become a much stronger economy.
That's the strategy of AMSCO, Public-Private Agenda for the Enhancement of the Development of the Country and Transformation of Cameroon.
Our role as AMSCO is to make this happen, to facilitate this. We are facilitating the discussions now, but we are also able to facilitate the transformation of the human resources in Cameroon. This is something we've done for 28 years in different countries. We've been operating in Cameroon on a smaller scale, but we are now looking at engaging the government and the private sector to see how we can expand the scope of what it is that we are doing and support the government's development agenda.
3 panels on program based on themes such as the economic transformation of Cameroon, contribution of human capital, how to build competitiveness and the continuity of enterprises, and investing in human capital. Is it necessary? The interveners, experts on the issue, are drawn from both the public and private sector. Occasion to sensitize decision makers, national and international, to accompany Cameroon in an effort to build a reserve of talent useful for the development of this country. Resolutions arrived will be shared by all to furnish reflections that will help to accelerate the agenda for growth and development.
It is to mark the 131st edition of the International Labour Day are ongoing across the national territory. A forum on topics related to workers and their work environment held today in Douala Littoral Region. Crystal Katala sat through the forum and now reports.
Workers of Douala in the Littoral Region are actively taking part in activities to mark the 131st edition of the International Labour Day. At the regional delegation of Labour and Social Security, workers are drilled on topics related to workers and the environment of work. Activities of the Workers' Week are open. Today, we've held forum, and this morning we expose on ethics at work. Among the topics chosen, conformity in enterprise. Some managers share their experience. At the end of the exposé, participants express satisfaction. I retain that in the company, you need to have a certain sense of professionalism, and you don't have to take part in fraud. There are some companies where when you go for recruitment, they will ask you who sent you. I believe each employer has something to offer. The 6th edition of Workers' Week will run to May 1st. Workers are invited to massively take part in activities in prelude to the D-Day, like sport walk, free screening, gala night, just to name the few.
From one international day to another, one-on-one campaign has been recommended as one of the best practices companies should adopt to fight against malaria, identified as one of the main factors of absenteeism in companies. The Cameroon Business Coalition Against Tuberculosis AIDS and malaria made the recommendation on Douala recently at a workshop that marks part of activities ahead of World Malaria Day to be celebrated on April 25th. Ambam Gladys reports.
Malaria is a life-threatening disease, and most African countries, including Cameroon, are prone to the deadly disease, which is preventable, treatable, and curable. In Cameroon, many companies complain malaria is the main cause of absenteeism in their structures. During a workshop organized in Douala by the Cameroon Business Coalition against AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria on practical directives on malaria care on the theme, Completely Eradicate Malaria, it was revealed that the rate of malaria amongst employees and their families has dropped, but justified the high rate of absenteeism due to the disease to the length of time the patient spent in hospital. In one of the companies dealing with security, for example, it was disclosed that 3,953 cases of malaria in 2014 led to 2,645 absences, and in 2015, 3,506 cases led to 2,110 absences, while in 2016, where the cases of malaria dropped to 550, yet it led to 1,245 absences. CCA-SIDA, which helps companies in Cameroon in the fight against AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria, lauded efforts made by some of these companies in the fight against malaria and emphasized the need for management to follow up employees receive the right treatment.
Workshop of the ingredients for managing malaria in companies. The objective of the workshop was to bring management of malaria into line, and the workers also benefit from all the facility set up to deal with malaria.
The head of the unit for the fight against malaria for the littoral, Dr. Nwa Estelle, recommended one-on-one campaign, which some companies already adopt as one of the best practices to prevent malaria. Educative talks follow up on the use of distributed mosquito nets were also recommended, as well as the importance to identify training needs and for companies to make good use of campaigns launched by the Ministry of Health. The workshop is part of activities to mark World Day Against Malaria come April 25.
Still on health, there is good news. Cameroonians suffering from diseases which need surgical intervention will soon receive medical attention free of charge. A medical vessel will anchor at the shores of Douala in the month of August with logistics and human resources to attend to these needs. In the following excerpt, the Littoral Regional Delegate of Public Health throws more light on diseases that will be taken care of on this medical vessel.
You have those people who have their some tumors, that means in their skull, that means how do you call it, skeleton. Though their legs are, how do you call it, deformed legs. They can come to this benefit of for this surgery. Those people who have some tumors in the face and so on. Those people who have how do you call it, genital mutilation, women, they can come because they have a chance to be treated. Those people who have how do you call it, gynecological problem, tumor. That means fibroids, cysts, ovarian cysts and so on, they can come. Those people who have, how do you call it, goitre, they can come also. And you know that there are there are other things about ophthalmology, that means cataract and so on, they can be done.
We now talk culture. A movie codenamed Bienvenue au Ghana would soon be launched in Cameroon in the days ahead. The movie denounces the governance system of African nations where presidents stick to power and masses live in abject poverty. Tim Morin in the following report spoke to the producer who is already in Cameroon.
It is a wake-up show full of exciting moments. Actors of the film codenamed Bienvenue au Gondwana, or better still Welcome to Gondwana Republic, Maman Michel Gowon, Digbo Cravat, arrived Cameroon in the night of Tuesday breaking Wednesday. The first stop was at Canal International, where they invited Cameroonians to take part in the projection of the new film at Canal Olympia. The new movie cracks down on the governance system of African countries, where its presidents stick to power and the masses live in abject poverty. The producer, Maman, speaks out.
Cameroonians should come and watch this movie because this movie deals with their own realities. It's the African realities. We don't speak language of nonsense. We speak language of reality, and you can't stop reality from being real. And we do it in humor, comedy, laugh with it, and not especially in Cameroon, in Togo, in Benin, in Congo. Things are really going very bad.
According to Maman, though the sufferings inflicted on the masses, it is only through humor that the people get united.
I don't reveal anything, I just reveal the real life, the comedy, election comedy, how our government, they trick elections, with the help of the international communities. They do it, why? Because they want to make business, that's all. So it's a fake rule, fake comedy, that's all. So I'm sending this message to all the Cameroonians, come and watch this movie, because this movie deals with your own reality.
The actors are inviting Cameroonians to watch the movie and get the message that could change their lives and the nation.
In sports, the Cameroon's delegation to the Under-16 Football World Cup was received today by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education. The Baby Lions won the trophy of the best youth of the competition. Our reporter, Tabby Clarkson, was part of the reception ceremony.
The national Under-16 football squad is back in the country after taking part in the World Under-16 Football Cup of Nations, also known as Montaigu, in France. The squad was this April 19 received by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education. Despite defeat, Bidun Kwat congratulated the boys for their performance and urged them to continue working hard for the well-being of our football. Cameroon came out 8 of the 12 participating countries, and to the President of the National Football Federation, Tombia Roko Sidiki, the most essential thing is not to win, but to participate.
The main ambition is not to win the trophy. I think this category is a very good category where we are starting preparing the team for the national A team. This is why I think Cameroon was 8 into 12 participating countries. I think for us it's something very good.
At the level of Fecafoot, projects are going on to promote youth football in the country.
I can confirm that the entire team is back, and for us it is a victory, because you remember some years ago when Cameroon was participating into these tournaments, sometimes there were some players who were trying to remain in France. And before they went into this tournament, I went to the airport to try to talk to them and said, okay, you are going to Montaigu. Immediately after this tournament, you should make sure you are back, because you don't have any feature if you stay in France without documents.
This year's edition of the Montaigu competition was the 45th of its kind, and Cameroon has won the competition on 4 occasions.
We now move out of the country with these briefs. Niger's Minister of Higher Education has been removed from his position after a violent wave of student protests that hit the capital, Niamey. Students have been demonstrating since the 10th of April and have been involved in violent clashes with security forces. The sacking of the Higher Education Minister was amongst several conditions students put forward for talks with government over their movements. Kenya's High Court has extended an order barring the government from hiring 500 doctors from neighboring Tanzania. The government initiated the move to address a shortage of medical personnel and also to deal with effects of a 3-month doctor strike that paralyzed public hospitals nationwide. Doctors' Union wants government to instead hire 1,000 local physicians who are unemployed. More than 820 Burundian women and girls were trafficked last year to the Middle East to work in conditions similar to slavery. They were promised good jobs but ended up doing housework. Only 30 have been so far repatriated, including one who was sexually abused in Saudi Arabia and now confined to a wheelchair. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we cut it off for this edition of the news on Canal, the English. Have a good evening.